Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Channel Wisdom Circle. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day yesterday. For the mothers out there, and for those of you who have mothers, you better have called your mother. All right, everyone. Good. Yes, Magic Monday. I love that. I love that. All right, welcome everyone. So today, obviously, what we do here on the Channel Wisdom Circles, I channel the Cosmic Collective Consciousness, and they give you very powerful messages that you need to hear right now. So today's message is for anyone who is having any health issues or does not want to have health issues, which is really everybody. So come on with me, okay? All right, we're going to just go ahead and get started with the channeling. So, first of all, the Cosmic Collective Consciousness today wants to really talk about the um, the power of our bodies, the power of our minds, the power of our emotions when it comes to our own happiness in life and when it comes to our actual life experience. We always talk about how your choices dictate the experience that you are experiencing now and into the future. And if you want to experience a different reality, then you need to make different choices. Okay, some of those choices are internal, some of those choices are reactionary choices, some of those choices are actions that you are doing or not doing in your physical life in order to take care of yourself. Now, I want to first bring us back to the three pillars of life that the Cosmic Collective Consciousness downloaded to me sometime last year. So we've been teaching this heavily in the Pathways course, so the Pathways program at Mystic University. But let's dive in. Can we make that bigger? So just to remind you guys, when I channeled this, when they downloaded this to me, they specifically said these are the only three things that are actually important to your incarnation. Not everywhere in life, but it is actually everywhere in life. That's why it's important to your incarnation. Your vessel, your life purpose, and your soul growth. Today we're going to focus on the vessel. And one thing that they said when they gave me this framework is that the vessel is number one. Okay? So these three things are the only things that are actually important to your incarnation, and everything else that's going on in your life, every other thing that doesn't include any of those things is only supplementary to that. So it's underneath that. And you can't have any of those things unless you have those things. So the reason why the vessel is number one out of all three pillars, you would think like we would say, life purpose is number one or your soul growth is number one. No, your vessel is number one. Why? Because you incarnated into this vessel, okay? And you, if without your vessel, you can't do any of those things. Without your vessel, you're not going to reach your life purpose. Without your vessel, you're not going to be able to have the soul growth that you are here to have. There's a reason why you didn't incarnate into this as a spirit, as just a thing with a formless being without a body, without an energy system, without any of that. There's a reason why you incarnated into form. Okay, your form is your vessel. And so a lot of times if you say the word vessel, a lot of times people just think of the physical body. So I want to be clear that when they say vessel, they're referring to all of you that makes your individual the individual you that is here. We know that that's an illusion, but but the individual that is here, that is your physical body, that is your energy system, that is everything that makes up you. Okay, that's also your mental body and your emotional body. We have a lot of different bodies. Our entire vessel is made up of many, many, many layers. So, in thinking of that, and let's talk about health, right? When we're talking about health, we're not just talking about physical health, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about emotional health. These things are important to your life experience. These things are important for you to be able to achieve the other three pillars, your life purpose and your soul growth. Without that, you don't get to do that because you're too focused on survival. So when you're having health issues, it brings you, and we talk about this also in the Pathways program. There's a whole framework that shows you how to ascend. Okay, and one of the parts of that framework is the mandala of fulfillment, and in the center of that mandala is basic fulfillment, and basic fulfillment is survival mode. Okay, that is when your basic needs are not met. Those basic needs include protections and security. It includes your basic needs. It also includes your health. Okay, that is at the core of this mandala. And then as you go out into the different rings of the mandala, you get to higher states of being. Why is basic fulfillment at the core of this? Because without that, you can't get to these other things. Why? Because when you are having health issues, and some of you who are having health issues right now, you know, especially if they're significant health issues, I'm not talking about just a cough. I'm talking about like health issues where it's affecting things, right? So if you're having a health problem, and it could be pain that you're having that's excruciating. It could be a lot of things, but it brings you back down into basic fulfillment. You could be over up in here in transcendent. There's you got to join the program to see all the rings, but there's a ring called transcendent, which is at the highest. And you're focused on evolution. You're focused on spirituality. You're focused on all these things, but you will keep getting brought back down to basic fulfillment if you are not if you are not fulfilling that fulfillment, that need, which is to be healthy, which is to have your basic needs met, which is to have quality of life. And so this is why it's so important to make sure that you are paying attention to your health. Okay. And again, this isn't just physical health, this is also mental health, this is also emotional health. Know that your life right now, most people's life, I'm not going to paint everyone with a broad brush because hopefully some of you are not there, but most people's life is built right now for survival versus for thriving and living. I always say, and I've been saying this for years, that life is meant to be lived, not endured. A lot of you are enduring life. A lot of you are in survival mode. Yes, like and subscribe. A lot of you are in survival mode. And if you're in survival mode, you're in that core basic fulfillment and you're not able to expand outside of that because your focus will always be brought back to your body, to your mental health, to your emotional health, whether you like it or not, even if you're trying to do all of this. And this is why a lot of people will be like, oh, I meditate every day, I do all these things, and I'm working on, ascension, yet their life is a hot mess because they're not focused. You have to also focus. You should continue to meditate and do all those things, right? But you have to take care of your needs in those different rings. And again, today we're talking about the basic fulfillment ring because that includes the health, okay, and all the other things. If you are feeling like you're in survival mode right now, then you need to be focused on getting out of survival mode. Okay, you need to focus on doing that so that you can actually have a stable ground in elevating, because otherwise you will continuously be brought back down to survival mode because you're not dealing with the core issues that are creating that survival mode. So back to health. If you are having any health issues right now, know that the vast majority of health issues are created energetically. Most of them are created energetically. Now, obviously, if you're rolling around in nuclear waste, that's another story. Message, that's another story, obviously. But I'm just talking about when you naturally develop health conditions. A lot of those things are due to your choices. They're due to your emotional choices, through your energetic choices, through your intake choices, through the food that you eat. And I know most of you are in the U.S. Okay, and we know, and if you don't know, you should know that the food in also a problem. Am I frozen? Okay, I'm back. I don't know if I was frozen on your end, but I was on mine. Okay, so if you're not allowing yourself. Okay, yeah, you froze. Okay, everyone can see me now. Hello, I'm doing the robot. We got it. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So that was the random robot. We got to break it down every once in a while. Okay, so if you are, if you, I'm silly, sorry. If you are not, if you are not focusing on the things that you are putting, if you are, sorry, I'm laughing at the comments. If you are not focused on the things that you are putting in your body, okay, then you are doing yourself a disservice. Again, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do if your body is not okay. Let's just talk about the physical body right now, which, by the way, the things you put into your physical body, because your vessel itself, meaning your physical body and your energy system, your biofield, all of that, works together. There's nothing that's separate from each other. Okay. Everything works in tandem. So if you're putting something negative and some toxicity into your body that your body does not like, guess what? That is going to eventually affect your physical body, but also your emotional body and your mental body. Okay. So all of those things still affect each other. So and then that's going to actually affect your I've seen lots of people with blocked chakras simply from the foods that they're eating. Okay, I've seen a lot of people with blocked chakras and crazy things going on in their biofield because of medication that they're taking. Okay, so know that the things that you put into your vessel, okay, should be sacred. And that doesn't mean you can't, have a good time and eat some of the foods that you like to eat, but for the vast majority of the time, you should be eating what your body and your spirit is calling for. And so in Mystic University, there's a class called Intuitive Eating that you can take that really, really breaks all of this down and teaches you how to do it. But generally, what you need to do is eat intuitively, and that's what I do all the time. If I am choosing what I want to eat, even if I'm at a restaurant, which I usually eat at home, but if I'm at a restaurant, so I like things homemade. But anyway, if I'm at a restaurant, I will even like scan the menu energetically and see, and I can look as weird as I want. I don't care. Okay, I'm the weirdo in the room. It's okay. So deal with it. Okay. Wait, hold on. Message. Don't afraid to be the weirdo in the room. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think normal is a good thing because most people are a hot mess and most people are not happy and most people are not healthy. So I don't mind being weird. Okay. I don't want to be normal at all. Right. Alita said food can cause inflammation and inflammation shifts everything. Exactly. Exactly. So there's a whole lot of things that go on with what you're putting in your body. And by the way, I want to state this very clearly because there's a lot of people in the spiritual world that have limiting beliefs on you have to eat in this type of diet, you have to eat in this type of diet in order to, be spiritual or whatever. Like you have to be vegan or you have to be the paleo, whatever it is. Like, don't listen to any of that. You have to eat what's good for you. Okay. So some people, vegan lifestyle works perfectly for them and it fits their whole energy system and everything. That's great. Some people that doesn't work for them and they need meat. They need that type of protein. They need, so pay attention to your body. Pay attention to what your spirit says that it wants. Okay. If it feels good, if you're holding a food, moon sign diet, yeah, there's a million of them, right? There's a million of diets out there. Choose what works for you or choose no diet at all and just do what I'm telling you to do, which is just eat intuitively. Right? I personally don't like boxes. I don't like, tell me what I can and can't do. That's me personally, okay? So I don't do that. I'm allowed to be free and I eat what I want to eat, but I also eat what my body and my spirit wants to eat. Okay, because if you do that, if you do intuitive eating, then the things that you put into your body are always going to be aligned with what is needed in the moment and what is okay in the moment, because you will feel, especially if you're well tuned in, you will feel when something is not toxic. I mean, when something is going to be toxic to your system. And know that we're all individuals, so one thing that's toxic to another person is not going to be toxic to you and vice versa. So this is why intuitive eating works really, really well. Again, if you want to take that class at Mystic University, you can go to mysticuniversity.net and find that class in there. I don't remember what section it's in, but you'll find it. Look it up. And there's like 150 classes, over 150 classes in Mystic University to take. So you'll find it though. Look it up. All right. Intuitive eating honors the vessel's intelligence. Exactly. Exactly. And so that's my suggestion, is that you, and our suggestion, me and the Cosmic Collective Consciousness, is that you try intuitive eating. It will make you feel free. Okay. And for those of you who don't like to be restricted too much, intuitive eating is great because there's tons of wonderful foods that your body's like yes to right now, that your body will say yes to. Okay. And your spirit will say yes to. So definitely try that. But let's also talk about emotional health and mental health. Because of that survival mode that we talked about earlier, the survival mode, and by the way, survival mode isn't just about, okay, you're having a health issue right now. You may not be having any health issues right now, and I hope you're not. But sometimes we're also in survival mode, and you don't want to be. By the way, you don't want to start having health issues, and this is why we're also having this conversation. That's why we started by saying, uh, for those of you who are having health issues and for those of you who don't want to have health issues. Because if you take care of your emotional body and your mental body and your physical body, you will thwart the vast majority of health issues out there. Like I said, unless you're rolling around nuclear waste, doing snow angels in nuclear waste, then that's obviously something else, right? But the vast majority of health issues are onset. They're brought on. They grow over time, and so as long as you're not doing anything crazy like that, then you can prevent those things. You can prevent that simply by taking care of your emotional body, your mental body. A lot of it starts there because a lot of health issues actually start with trauma. Okay. And I'm going to give my story again for those of you, in case anybody's new and hasn't heard it, because it's a great example of this. So I'm going to shorten it though, very, very short. I was a vice president of finance a long time ago, and executive, very successful, all of these things. I was still in my 20s. I'm 47 now. I was still in my 20s, and I stressed myself out. And I also had trauma from childhood that I never healed from. This is the very short version. And then all of a sudden, my body started breaking down on me. I became paralyzed. The paralysis would go in and out. Doctors couldn't figure out what was going on. I developed an anxiety disorder, depression disorder, all of those things while still having paralysis on and off because it was temporary and uh, partial. And so I ended up discovering what that was, like what the root cause was. Guess what the root cause was? The root cause was stress. The root cause was trauma, unhealed. And that actually built up over time and created my body breaking down. Okay. Also, overload because I was in survival mode. Why was I in survival mode? Not because I had to be in survival mode. I was very successful. I was making tons of money, all of those things. I was in survival mode because of my mindset. My mindset was work, 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 grind, grind, grind. Success, success, success. No mention in that at all of taking care of my vessel, taking care of my body, taking care of my mind. Okay. None of that. It was just grind, 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 grind. Okay. That's another form of survival mode. So know that that is another form of survival mode. So if you that is you right now, whether you consider yourself successful or not, but if you are striving for that success and you're just grind, 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 grind. If you're the type of person who wakes up and is like, okay, another day, another grind, that kind of thing, you're doing the wrong thing. Okay, you're doing the wrong thing. That's what one thing that I had to learn, unfortunately, in the in all of that. And by the way, I healed myself. Once I figured it out, I healed myself, and obviously, I'm fine. I've never had any issues again. That was 20 years ago, but that's a major, major lesson to learn. There are many forms of survival mode. And so if you're putting yourself energetically in survival mode when you are grinding, 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 and never giving yourself a chance to rest, never giving yourself time to actually sit and be still. Mental health buckles under the a lack of rest. Okay, I want you to understand that your mental health will buckle under a lack of rest. If you are always constantly in the future, thinking in the future, if you're always constantly grinding, if you're always constantly this, and you're never allowing your mind to just be, that's powerful. Like you have to do that. You have to allow your mind to just be sometimes. Again, I'm the weird person in the room. It's okay. I don't mind being weird. I have what I call wall time. Now, I call it wall time because it's literally all I'm doing is I will sit down in silence and I will stare at a wall. And amazing things happen when I do that. I allow my mind to rest, allow all of the crazy things to settle down, right? All of the what ifs and this and that and strategy because I'm a Virgo, so I'm very mental. I'm always strategizing, all of those things, right? So yes, you have to quiet the noise. It's very, very important. You have to do that for your own mental health. Okay. Now, some of you don't like silence. That's a sign. If you don't like silence, that's because you don't want to deal with yourself. Because what happens? Why do I say staring at a wall, amazing things happen? My wall time is real. Okay. Amazing things happen. Why? Because I'm in silence and it clears the field, it clears my channel. and I'm allowed to see things more clearly. It literally clears your channel. It literally clears your mind. And if I haven't healed, then I'm going to see some things I may not like, because it's a window into the soul. It's a window into what's going on in yourself. So if you're a person who doesn't like silence, check yourself. Okay, hold on. Message. Okay, if you're a person who doesn't like silence, check yourself. Ask yourself why, and don't give me any BS answers. Don't give me any BS answers of why. Oh, I don't like silence because I prefer this, but why? Keep asking yourself the question why, and then you will be faced in the mirror. Okay, and the reality is you don't like silence. I don't care who you are, and I don't care what excuses you want to come up with. But if you don't like silence, it's because you don't want to look at yourself, and that may be subconscious. It may not be conscious, but that's the answer. I will tell you that right now. That is the answer. You're uncomfortable with seeing, you're uncomfortable with being, you're uncomfortable with your own thoughts, you're uncomfortable with your own emotions, you're uncomfortable with facing the truth of whatever is going on inside of you. But guess what? That lack of comfort, that uncomfortable space is exactly the route to your freedom. Okay? Message. That is the route to your freedom. That is the pathway to your freedom. You need to go through that. You need to go through that. Your health is wealth. Your health in every aspect, not just your physical health, but definitely your physical health as well. Physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, all of those things. That is wealth. And you have to go through the things you don't want to see. You have to go through the mirror to get to the other side to have your health and your wealth. Okay? That's what you have to do. So if you are afraid of that, like I said, check yourself before you wreck yourself, because you will wreck yourself. I'm aging myself, but that's okay. That's okay. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. You need to go through that mirror and stop forcing yourself to be busy all the time. Stop spiritual scapegoating, right? Because, oh, let me do this, let me do that, instead of just being in silence. If silence bothers you, you have to check yourself. You gotta ask yourself why, and dig in and see what you're hiding, what you're running away from, because you should be okay in silence. I know a lot of people who literally cannot be in silence. It's so uncomfortable for them. They have to have the TV on all the time. They have to have music on all the time. They have to have some noise on all the time. Again, that tells you something. So yes, Alita says, I thrive in silence. I miss silent lifestyle dearly. Okay, oh, because she has a child. Yes. Now I understand that you can't get silent sometimes because you have a child. I understand that. I definitely understand that. But the reality is, I'm talking about people who do not like silence, who cannot be in silence. Okay, wall time is great, and if you have children and you have a hard time finding your silent moments, go in the car. Go in the car if you can sit in the car by yourself, right? And someone else is watching them or whatever, and you can just sit in the car. If you can do that for 5 minutes, that's good time. You call it car time instead of wall time, whatever you want to call it, okay? You can also sit in the bathroom, stare at the wall. I mean, there might be noise going on outside the room, so figure it out. But there's a way. There's always a way. There's never an excuse. There's always a way. Remember that. There's never an excuse. There's always a way. I'm going to say that one more time. There's never an excuse. There's always a way. You just have to be creative. Depends on your life and how busy everything is around you, right? But that silence is really important. That silence is key because remember I said mental health buckles under, I forgot exactly what I said, but mental health buckles under the lack of rest. So you need to be able to rest your mind and allow it to filter through, allow it to remove any toxicity. Your mind will cleanse itself if it just has the time to do so. Okay. Also, your emotional health will buckle under the same thing. If you are constantly go, 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 and you never give your emotional health silence either, and attention. Okay. Your emotional health needs both silence and attention. You need to silence all of the emotional stuff going on, right? All of the reactions, everything else, just shut everything down for a moment and have some time to yourself where it's silent. There's nothing crazy going on. There's no lions coming after you. There's no grind going on, right? And just allow yourself to release and allow yourself to be, and all of those things will begin to happen as you are doing that. Okay? So really, really, really important. Another thing that is really good for emotional healing, that's super simple, is cacao. I don't know if you guys have some of you guys I know use cacao. Some of you may not have even heard of it because it's not as popular as some of the other plant medicines. But cacao is very, very powerful. It's very subtle. It's not like a plant medicine like ayahuasca where you're gonna be throwing up and it's like 8 hours long and all that stuff. This cacao it is plant medicine. It comes from it is a cocoa bean, but it's unprocessed. So without processing, I'm just gonna give you guys a real quick lesson on it. Without processing it, the spirit of the plant stays within it, and that spirit of the plant is very, very powerful, very powerful. We call her Mother Cacao. You drink the cacao, she enters your system, and she very gently, anything that is in there that you know of or don't know, she will very gently just push it out. It is very, very powerful for emotional healing. And a lot of people, the first time they take it, they just start crying. Remember that crying is your body's physiological way of releasing negative energy. So if you start crying, allow it to happen. You are releasing something. You are releasing the emotional energy, right? That emotional energy, if you keep it in there, that will end up affecting your physical body. It will end up affecting your emotional body, right? Because if you have those emotional energies built up, what's going to end up happening? Now you're flying off at the handle when someone says something simple. Now you have buttons to push. And we had that talk already. We don't need buttons to push. We don't like having buttons to push. Okay. So make sure that you are doing that emotional healing. Yes, regulate, exactly, and recalibrate. That's very important. So for those of you who don't know, speaking of cacao, I have my own cacao brand. It's the only black owned um, ceremonial cacao brand in the world. Okay, and it's called it's called Enchanted Cacao. I also enchant it. That's why it's called Enchanted Cacao. It's from a tribal farm in Ecuador, and there it's also blessed by a shaman. And then I double bless it with adding programming energy that makes the cacao and the spirit of the cacao even stronger and be able to heal you even better and more precisely and stuff like that. So if you go to mysticmarketplace.com, you can find it there. But cacao is very, very powerful and popular. For those of you who have ever tried it, then you love it. Um, but however you end up doing your emotional healing, there's tons of ways to do emotional healing too. It's like you can do definitely chakra balancing. You can do shamanic journeying, you can do meditations. There's so many different ways, but the most important thing is to do it. However you do it is to do it. Sometimes it's hard to see. Like sometimes it's hard for you to look at it. It's not easy for you to see, and that's why I'm saying you have to go through that mirror. You have to just do it. Like we say, feel the fear and move anyway, move forward, move through it anyway, push it to the side and be like, no, I want what's at the other end of this. And I want it bad enough in order for me to be able to do this. Like I'm willing to do this because I want what's at the end bad enough. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, how badly do you really want everything that you want in your life? Because your vessel, it needs to be there in order for you to get those things. How many times have you seen people who strive for whatever they're striving for, especially if it's material, who strive for something material? They get it, and yeah, okay, oh, I'm rich, I'm a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, but now I have health problems because I sacrificed all that in order to get there. And now I'm there, but I can't even enjoy it because I have health problems. Because I'm back in survival mode. I'm back in basic fulfillment because I didn't do things properly. You can, and again, like I said, there's no excuses, there's always a way. You can strive for whatever it is you want to strive for. Like I've said before, and like we've said over the past week, your goals are spiritually necessary. So, whatever your goals are, you can get those goals. All you have to do is make sure that you're also balancing things to make sure that you are feeding your body, your spirit, your emotions, and your mental body properly. If you are not doing that, then you're sacrificing it. And you're also not usually going to get where you need to get as fast because of that. And it's not going to last as long because of that. Okay? Get forceful you have if you have to. Right. Bust through stubborn mental cycles. Yes, yes, yes. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You have to do those things. Your body, your vessel, your entire vessel, your energy system, emotion, and mental is too important. Get out of survival mode and start enjoying your life. But there's a balance. There's a balance to everything. Like I always say, don't take anything I say and bring it all the way over here, over here. Keep it right in the middle because that's where it is. There's nothing that's black and white. Okay. Just like there's nothing wrong with a grind. When I said, don't, if you wake up and say, okay, rise and grind kind of thing, that you shouldn't be doing that every day and that shouldn't be your 100% focus all the time, right? There, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a grind. That's okay. There's time for action, but there's also time for rest. What do I always say? If you're not allowing that time for rest, that's the balance we're talking about. If you're not allowing that time for rest and you're all about the grind and that's all you're about, then you're doing yourself a disservice and you're missing the point of this human experience. This human experience is about balance. It is about reaching your dreams. It is also about your soul growth, your vessel, your life purpose, all of those things, right? But your vessel is number one because you need that in order to get to all the other things that you want. So, again, the message today is what are you doing? The question today, rather, is what are you doing about your health right now? Are you taking the reins? Are you making sure that you take care of things now so that you don't end up having to deal with worse things later? Are you making sure that if you are having health issues right now, that you are beginning to deal with those things? Okay, first of all, whatever health issues you have, like I said, unless you're rolling around in nuclear waste, if you have some type of health issues that have grown, right, that have developed over a period of time, you have to go and get to the root of what caused them, wipe that out, and then you can deal with that. It doesn't matter if you're seeing medical attention or you're using herbs or whatever. At the end of the day, you have to do the energy. You have to work with the energy. Absolutely. And then the other stuff on top of that is great, but you have to work with the energy or else it's going to persist and it's going to come back in different ways. Okay. So I want to stress the importance of that because they're saying this right now because clearly this is what you guys need to hear right now. And make sure that you get out of that survival mode so that you can move on to higher ground and you can move on to bigger and better things. Okay. Stay out of that survival mode and in all the different ways that I just stated that you can be in survival mode. All right, so we're done for today. I will see you guys tomorrow on the channel Wisdom Circle. Have a wonderful day. And in the divine language, Zor Kumti. I'll see you next time.